7 years ago, what we're going to talk about now, expanding horizons, kind of found itself. And that process started by one of our juvenile probation officers. Her name is Jen Contreras. She came to us and said, "Hey, we need something different. We've got this young girl that we're going to lose." At the time, she was 15.
I think so.
5'2", 250 pounds, type 2 diabetic. In the probation mindset, she had two paths. She was either going to die of drugs or she was going to be incarcerated for the rest of her life. She was on the verge of doing something drastic, either to herself or to someone else. And they couldn't crack her. They could not get through to her. She was like this. And I said, I know a little bit about your story. I don't know exactly what's going on, but at the time, her mother had passed away due to drugs and overdose, and her dad was in prison, and she was living with grandparents in foster or respite care. I said, I understand that, your dad's in prison and mom is no longer with us. And I said, I hate to hear that. And I laughed and I said, we kind of got something in common. My mom just died and she was in prison.
Yeah.
And she was there since I was 11. And her hands literally just dropped and she leaned forward and she said, "What's that wall ball thing you talked about?" First words, not, "Yeah, that's not right," or "Yeah, whatever," or "My story's worse," or "What was that wall ball thing you did?" And I'm like, well, let's go take a look at it. She looked at her probation staff about 15 minutes into it and she said, "Yeah, I'll do this. I'll come back." Next day, she started at her 9 a.m. class completely on her own.
Part of the program was she had to come to the 9 a.m. class. What we began to see was as the summer went on, we'd see her in the evening too, like late afternoon, early evening classes, where she would come back not to work out, but just to be. This was safe, and this became home for her.
So what they found after the workout is she started to really talk more than she'd ever talked to any of her probation staff before. Again, think about what we do physically and how that changes what's between our ears. Like you say it the best, right? That physical adaptation happens right here. And she let her guard down. So she would get done with a real tough workout. Probation staff would pick her up and she would start talking. And they would learn more about her home situation in those 10 to 15 minutes after workout than they would all week working with her.
Kind of based upon your own anecdotal experience of the kids you've dealt with over the last 7 years, what percentage of those would you say come from homes without fathers?
A high percent.
Very high percentage.
Yeah, we track that. I wish I could have grabbed that data, but we track what the home life looks like. We track what kids are in foster care, what kids are in respite care. We've got kids that are in community homes.
I think it's amazing what you guys offer, that you might be the only opportunity in their life they've ever seen a positive adult role model.
That's one of the things that the probation staff realized when, after that summer with Mackenzie's success, they called and said, "Hey, can we bring more kids?" So that's kind of where the Expanding Horizons program was born, where we now 4 days a week have court-ordered CrossFit where our kids and the probation staff work out together. The thing that makes the magic happen is the community that the kids find, just like Mackenzie.
But what we found that our coaching staff wasn't ready for, and what we weren't ready for, is the mental condition of the masses when they started coming in. Myself, suffering from the trauma that I suffered, I could see it in some of the kids when they walk in. I'm like, oh man, there's something major going on. But couldn't really pinpoint it, or didn't really know how to talk to them or talk about it or get through to them, nor were our coaches equipped for that. Like teaching human movement, we're the best at it. Learning the human condition, we need to help our coaches out through that. We partnered with one of the counselors here in town, Dr. Aaron Kuhn, who had worked with a majority of the kids already and worked with probation staff to bring trauma-informed training to our coaching staff that allowed them to understand when Johnny is coming in the door and today they're completely despondent, where yesterday they were talking a mile a minute and life was great, and today they're blank and you can't get anything out of them. And when you ask them to do something, they just stand there and look at you. Like, how do you handle that? What do you say to them? So that's where we started really kind of working with both sides of it. We incorporated the mental piece so we could break through to these kids and really help de-escalate situations.
It's really easy to take a former, college athlete in their mid-20s who's has a baseline of fitness and make them a little fitter. But what happens when you have somebody 150 pounds overweight, crippling with anxiety and insecurity because of their physical condition, scared to death to even walk into your gym? And we would make the argument that that person needs what we offer the most.
If you come in and I'm the coach and I see that you're off emotionally, it's not going to help, like Matt said, to fix what's not the cause. Now, I'm not going to diagnose. I'm not going to fix their trauma. I'm not going to heal them right there. But taking the time to acknowledge, hey, something seems off today. I don't think today's the day for you to do Murph, or I don't think today's the day for you to do burpees with this. We're able to dive into those things.
Yep.
Same kid, couple weeks later at school, upset at a teacher, previously would have thrown the chair at the teacher, walked out, found the school resource officer who had been coming to the gym with them and said, hey, I need you to help me calm down because I am going to lose it. He'd never been able to self-advocate before.
Right.
Ever.
A lot of these kids walking in the door, I related to. No one really knew what was going on in my head because my story wasn't out at that point in time. But I knew when those kids rolled in, I'm like, oh man, I know what's going on there. I can see it because that was me when I was 14.
You're not a psychologist. You don't have a criminal justice background. What you do have is a burning desire to make others better.
He said, do you know what your recidivism rate is? And I didn't even know what recidivism was. And he's like, well, your recidivism rate's 24%. It's the lowest in the state and it's the lowest in the nation. He goes, we got to know more about it.
Basically, they were auditing where funds were being spent. If there's anything above a speeding ticket that would land them back into court, then it's considered that rehabilitation or that habilitation probably didn't work. It wasn't as effective as what it's designed to be. So statistically, adult and youth recidivism rates can go from anywhere from 60 to 80% across the country. And so for the kids who are participating in the program, that's what they were tracking, was that recidivism rate dropped significantly.
In the state of Delaware, Adam said it costs $500 a day on average for a kid to be in juvenile. And that's, recidivism is like if they go in once, do they go back?
And your county would much rather reinvest that money into programs within the community. So now the budget that's here to run your probation department, that shrinks.
Yep.
Because you can stretch that $500 further than one kid.
That's right.
We're investing in these kids because we believe in our community. The kids who we see on the probation program typically don't grow up, go to college, and move to the big city or the suburbs. They stay right here. And if I want this community to grow positively and stay safe and sound, that's part of my responsibility.
There's 55,000 adult prisoners in the state of Ohio because we can't get our kids stay out of the system, because the kids that are in the system today will typically be in the system as an adult.
Fast forward, Mackenzie's been off of probation for years. Mackenzie's married. She has 2 little boys. Her and her husband both have full-time jobs. She even went to nursing school, and they're clean and sober. Coming from her background, had there not have been some heavy interventions there, she was head on the path of her parents, which then either her children would not be here or they would be parentless back in the system.
Most states, when they say, okay, sounds like a great program, show us your data, and we show them recidivism, we show them what kids have been in foster care that we've helped, we present the trauma training to them, it checks all of their boxes. Like, oh, well, yeah, you've got this covered and you've got that covered. It's okay to get paid to do good things. That was the toughest thing for me to get over. Was like, oh man, we'll just do this. We'll just do it. We'll just do it. Yeah, you can just do it, and you can help keep your lights on and pay your bills and pay your coaches.
In order to do good for others, you got to be doing well for yourself. For us, it's about cultivating the right people and then highlighting their stories so the impact could be magnified.